So I signed up and the installer's coming around. He's going to install it here on location. It doesn't get any better than this. I have the designer of MicroAir going on my air conditioner.
The buck stops with me.
The buck stops here, guys. Before we're here at the International Airstream Rally, and it's so cool because these guys have a booth and they're offering the install too. I mean, you have to pay for it, but it's right here. Keeps me from climbing up on there, calling you 2 or 3 times to go, hey, what do I do now? So we're here, we're gonna install soft start on my second AC. Already have it on the first one, so looking forward to it.
Tell your viewers, probably 95% of our customers install it themselves, so it's obviously it's very convenient here, and everybody wants it installed at the International Rally, which is fun. This is why I'm here.
Yeah,
because
that's awesome.
I'm just here to enjoy it and to engage with fun Airstreamers like you and everyone else. But yeah, everybody does it themselves. We've got a great phone support. I mean, the team, Roger, Nick, Barry, Kevin. Kevin's in our booth. He takes calls. Mark. Yeah, even the owner takes calls. Owner
I heard
Andy,
that. Yeah, I heard that.
Calls. So they're all there, and they'll support it.
Yeah, and you know, looking at the install element of it, guys, I could have done this myself. The first one I had Airstream do. After I did that, I regretted that I didn't have both done.
Yes.
So now I'm here, I get both done. But yeah, I mean, Kevin told me, he said, Scott, you could do this. You know, 4 wires, you could do this yourself. And of course I told Kevin, I said, but I'm here. And I want the expert. So there we go.
Let's get to work.
Let's get to work.
This is your condenser coil here, and then the blower motor here, which blows air out. This is where the hot air blows out. So never install the Easy Start on this panel because it'll get overheated. So that's just why we install it in the Penguin over in this corner. One thing that is always a trick with these is sometimes this copper line is slightly in the way, but this case it's not. Now we're good. So what I typically do first is we thread. We're going to mount the Easy Start here and thread the wire all the way across over to the electric box, which is over here. So later on, when we'll shoot from this side, you'll be able to see it. So the first thing I do is we pass the wire through this plastic wall here. There's a passageway with this gray clay-like material, which is called duct putty, because it's meant to block air ducts after you around wires. And you make a little passage through there, and now we can pass our Easy Start wires through there, and they're going to the compressor wires and the reversing valve wires are alongside. So then we pull enough wire through such that when we put it over here, we have a decent amount of slack. So we're going to mount it just like, pretty much like that. So then, after that, you can take the duct putty and put it back to kind of create an air seal. The whole point of this putty is to force the air, to not allow air to pass through this hole, and instead to pass through the coil, to remove the heat. So that's the point of that. And I've already affixed the double stick 3M tape here, as a foam tape, onto the Easy Start. This stuff is like nails once it's adhered, and it's meant for outdoor application. And as long as the surfaces are clean, which we just did, put this in here like so, make sure it's not touching anything. Half of it adheres to the black plastic, the other half will adhere to the styrofoam. Give it a good press and a good wobble to make sure the the tape is well seated, and this will not come off. If it comes off, styrofoam's going to come with it.
Sounds good.
So it's on there, and this is a great spot. The Easy Start is an IP65 enclosure, completely weatherproof, so this can get rained on, no worries. And that's why it's really the only place it can mount in here. The wires, as they pass across the condenser box here, we'll tie wrap them to follow the other wires, cable tie them to follow the other wires so they don't get caught in the fan shaft. Alright, so we have our wires run across, and we now need to put them into the electric box. Now the electric box, there's a few different ways to deal with this. The electric box has some foam to seal the air box here and force air to pass through the condenser instead of around the box once the cover is on. So typically the way I like to separate this, because if I take this cover off of the electric box, there is a chance that we can tear this foam. So we typically will loosen it up here because it's going to get squished down, and we might also remove it from this surface without damaging it. Small amount of adhesive, and then this will allow us to spring it a little bit further without further damage. It's best to maybe use a sharp blade and cut it back so that the foam doesn't tear, because if the foam is intact and it squishes back down, nothing bad is going to happen. It'll accomplish its seal again. So give it a little bit of slack here so that way I can take this cover and flip it over completely without any risk of tearing. Now Scott already turned off the main break or the circuit breaker for this unit. We're actually on the rear unit, or the bedroom unit, depends on how it's labeled. The first thing I'm going to do is remove this strain relief that's in the back here where all the wires pass through, and here is where we're going to pass through the Easy Start wires. And then once I'm done with that, we're going to install a replacement bushing which will protect the wires from being chafed against the sharp metal edge of this electric box. At this point we've passed the wires through, and if you purchase the installation kit from MicroAir, we provide this split bushing that can go around all these wires and including the Easy Start harness, which is a 4-conductor, that 4-conductor cable here. And so once you get the split bushing around all the wires, you can push it back in, and then you have to work it into this hole. Typically I have found that using a broad blade slotted screwdriver helps this process, since it can be tight. The bushing has locking tabs on it, so once it's in place, as you heard, may have heard it click there, it's not going to come out anymore. The harness is actually of the right length that it's almost ideal for the Dometic Penguin too, so you really don't have to trim anything here. This is perfect. The electric box cover will go on without any problems, and all should be good. Also, no need to worry about sealing the airflow here, since so many wires are passing through here now that is no longer an issue of no air leak will occur. So first thing I do typically is I get my other wires adjusted. This particular unit, unlike many of the others I've done, usually will come with a hard start capacitor installed from the factory. And if there is a hard start installed, you want to remove it first. And usually there's one wire connected here and another wire connected on the run capacitor. This is the common side of the run capacitor. This is the start winding side of the run capacitor. And then the back corner is for the fan. This is a 3-terminal run capacitor, or a dual run capacitor as they call it. The hard start kit that Dometic typically uses on the Penguin 2, which I'm actually quite surprised to find isn't in this one, would connect between the start winding and the common, and you would disconnect those 2 wires, and you can leave them in the box, just tie them off, maybe tape them off and put them at the bottom. There's no power on them once they're both disconnected, but you could save them if you ever wanted to remove the Easy Start and restore the unit to factory configuration. But in this case, we don't have much to do there. We do have an open terminal on the run capacitor, but I typically like to relocate these terminals on the common side to make it easier to install the Easy Start's wire. One Easy Start's wire is going to go to this terminal and one's going to go here. Now one of the wires on the common is this thicker gauged white wire that passes out the wire exit here alongside a thinner gauged white wire. The thinner white wire goes to the fan. This wire goes to the compressor's run winding. That is an important connection for the Easy Start, and it is going to be one of the only spliced connections. This is going to go to the brown wire in Easy Start. So remove that from the run capacitor, and in its place we will connect the white wire from the Easy Start when we get to that step. In the meantime, though, I'm going to proceed with doing a little bit of rearrangement of these terminals so that it's easier for me to attach the wires of the Easy Start. So now I have 2 terminals in the front here that are going to be very accessible when I get time to, or when it comes time to connecting these 2 wires, the orange and the white, which we will do right now. So, white wire is 12 gauge and requires a yellow quick disconnect terminal. Whenever you're crimping, always make sure to give a nice pull test to make sure you did a good job. That guy is going to go right here onto that terminal. Make sure it's on there securely. The orange wire is 16 gauge and it requires a blue quick disconnect terminal. These terminals all come in the MicroAir Easy Start installation kit if you choose to purchase it. Otherwise, you can get these terminals at any hardware store. So 2 of the 4 wires are completed. The next one we're going to do is we're going to take that run winding wire that we disconnected from the run cap, and we're going to splice it to the Easy Start brown wire. If you ever wanted to be able to easily remove the Easy Start, you could install one of these male disconnect terminals here and plug it in like that in order to allow for easy removal. But Scott, his air conditioner here, we're not worrying about any sort of modifications being done to it, so we're going to just go ahead, cut this terminal off, strip this wire here, and use what's called an end splice to connect these together, which is basically like a crimpable wire nut and I usually trim the end off here after I twist these wires together to get it a little bit more square, and that allows this end splice to go on as deep and as secure as possible. And so this is now connected. And then last but not least, and this is probably the more difficult splice, the compressor common must be attached to the black wire of the Easy Start. Now in the installation kit, there is a flag terminal that can be used to replace this one, kind of provide a little bit of a pigtail from this is a relay, and this relay has main power coming in, and it switches the main power going out to the compressor common whenever the control here is calling for the air compressor to run. So we can have we do provide in the installation kit a little pigtail to kind of provide a little more length here. I'm not using the installation kit as I have bulk and terminals here just for the work that we're doing at the rally. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut into this blue wire right here, and we're going to do a three-way splice instead of the two-way that we just did on the run winding. The blue wire can sometimes be a little short, so I pull as much slack as I can from the inside, and then I bundle these three together, twist this, do a little trimming, Scotch back, and we will, after we do this crimp, we will be ready to test. It's always a good idea to do a pull test on each of your individual three-way splice connections in order to make sure. Where's that blood coming from? It's from me. I'm bleeding on the terminals. We are ready. So go ahead and fire up the breaker, and when you turn the breaker on, the thermostat will show an hourglass because it's going to go into a wait, because it'll think that power went off and just came on again. So it's going to wait 2 minutes before it fires this up.
I'll fire it up and come back out.
All right, let's do it. All right, so we're going to put the electric box cover back on while Scott goes and turns the breaker on. After a minute or two, the fan will come on, and so we'll see the fan fire up, and then we'll wait for the compressor to start to make sure that the Easy Start is working. The compressor will not make nearly as much noise when it starts now that the Easy Start is on, and in fact you won't even notice it. Now the fan is coming on first, and then after a short delay the compressor will come on, and the only way I can usually tell is by having my hand on it, because it's pretty quiet, and that's one of the side benefits of the Easy Start. There you go, compressor started.
Wow.
And really,
I didn't even hear it from here.
It's on now. I can tell the suction line's cold and the discharge is hot. It's running. So I installed it correctly, so I get an A.
You get an A.
I get an A. At least, somebody, at least I kind of know what I'm doing. But yeah, all is good. So let's put the cover back. You're already familiar with the learning process, but I'll explain it for the benefit of your.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Of your viewers.
Sounds brilliant. The tail's back on the ground, and
we live to tell about it.
It's running.
It's running. It's blowing cold air and doesn't even make any noise when the compressor starts.
Awesome. It didn't. I literally had no idea.
You were right in front of it. Yep.
Was going. Now I will say now, from here out, after it gets through 5 cycles and its own timing and its own lifespan and whatever else I'm going to do this week, It's done.
It's done. You can go back and forth between generator, inverter, or utility power as often as you like once the learning is done, and you'll enjoy all the benefits.
So there it is, guys. We're installed. Thank you so much.
Yep.
I had the guy on the job. I know a guy now.
You know.
So I'm going to put a link down below. That's how you're going to get a hold of Matea and his colleagues over at MicroAir. And these guys, soft start, block, it's really the way to do it. If you own an Airstream, you should have a MicroAir soft start on your set.
Yes.
Because you own an Airstream.
And accept no competitors, because MicroAir Easy Start was designed and is manufactured in the United States of America.
And that is
like your
worth
Airstream.
Everything.
That's worth everything.
So, okay guys, we're installed, we're done, we're moving on to the next thing. See you, buddy.
See ya.
Thank you
Bye.
very much.
All right.
Take care.
All right, bye.